Alright, you're welcome to a beautiful Saturday morning right here on the Active Sport Show. And I am your host for today, the priest of football, Mecca Madoko, aka Femelo. And I'm not doing this alone. I'm joined with the divinator of football, Divine. What's happening, my brother?
Oh, it's been good. I've missed you guys.
Oh, it's great to have you back on the studio today.
Thank you.
Let's get down to the nitty gritty. It's been a lot since football resumed from the international break. I mean, there's been a lot of spills, chews here. Some clubs getting themselves back to fitness, some clubs getting themselves back to winning ways after losing ways before the break.
Spills and thrills.
I just want to get your thoughts on the NPFL so far and what you've made of the last match week. The results from match week 32.
Well, okay. It's football. Let me just summarize everything in one statement. It's football. Anything can happen in football. Remo Stars. Should I call them the surprise of the season? I don't know. Okay, let's call 3SC the surprise of the season. Then let's call Remo Stars the soon to be champions. Okay, these are the results. Am I free to talk about that? Okay.
Yeah, you can go ahead and call it out for us.
Okay, so Kwara United having a 1-0 win over Nasarawa United. Kano Pillars, a goalless draw with Bendel Insurance. Sunshine Stars, goalless draw with Heartland. They are Amunike boys. Abia Warriors, yes, my dear old brothers. 2-0 win over Lobby Stars at home. Bayelsa United having a 1-0 win. A slight victory over Rivers United. Then on Thursday, 27th March, El Kanemi Warriors. They shared the spoils with 3SC. Rangers at our own cathedral fell short to Plateau United. A very big blow. Remo Stars, no surprise there. Getting it over my other brothers in Nimbas of Aba. Alqua United getting all 3 points. That's 2-0 over Niger Tornadoes. Then Ikorodu City, Oga Boys. Their match has been postponed against Katsina United.
All right, that's how the match week 32 planned out.
Okay.
And that's the table right there, right? Remo Stars sitting comfortably on top.
8 points.
8 points. Rivers United follow suit. Abia Warriors surprisingly get themselves into third. Shooting Stars fourth. Daryl Rangers are in fifth. Ikorodu Boys are in sixth. Brenda Insurance are seventh. Kano Pillars are eighth. Eimba are ninth. Kwara United 10th. 11th place are Plateau United. Bayelsa United follow suit in 12th. 13th place is El Kanemi Warriors. 14th place, Niger Tornado FC. Casino United in 15th. Oko United in 16th. 17th place is Nassau United. Heartland, after such a great season, are falling into the relegation waters in 18th place. And Sunshine Stars 19th. And obviously the basement boys for a long time, Lobby Stars.
They've maintained that basement.
There's a consistency right there. But I mean, this is how the table has planned out, and quite a lot of people have said yes, Abia Warriors and Shooting Stars have been the surprise package in the top half of the table. I mean, it could do boys as well, getting themselves as high as sixth. At some point, they were even third, but some few games they lost and their job form. But I mean, still seeing them high up in the table.
Still something to
write home about, given the journey they've had coming into the NPFL and. I want to ask, when you see all these surprise packages doing well from very early on in the league, and you see them towards the end of the season getting themselves in that positions that they want to be, are you seeing it as maybe as a surprise thing, maybe it's just a one season stuff, or it's something that they've looked at, evaluated, and say, okay, we're going to get ourselves into the top stages and keep ourselves there?
Okay, the thing there is, it's not all about when you've started. It's how about when you finish. No problem. You got like sorry, let me digress a little. Nottingham Forest now is a package in the Premier League. So let's come back to NPFL now. Now it's not about the surprise package. Abia Warriors and 3SC on the top four. Yes, on the top four of the table. Now they've gotten to top four, top three. Now next season, what can we say about them? It's next season that will determine if there's consistency, or should we call them a one-season wonder, so to speak. So for now, let's not judge. Let's just sit back and enjoy what they've offered, what they are offering so far this season. And then when next season comes, maybe by this time next season, when the season is about middle of season or towards the end of the season, then we can now talk about them being either a one season wonder or a consistent team.
All right. I think that's fair enough to say. But I want to ask this just before we go to the next story.
Okay.
Rangers, they've fallen so far off the pace. And I mean, it's just a few games to go before we wrap up the NPFL season. Some could liken it to Man City in the Premier League. I mean, going from champions to 5th place. But I mean, we've seen Guardiola and his team try to strive and get themselves back into action. What can Fidelis Ilechukwu and his boys do to rally themselves? Even, yes, to say they will win the NPFL is somewhat of an impossible chase.
It's not somewhat. It's totally.
Get themselves into the top 2, top 3. What can they do? Because it's still on for them. But what can they do now to get them? Is it just about the football, or there has to be some psyche elevation around the camp? Everybody needs to be pumped up for the rest of the season.
You're just answering the question by yourself already. You already answered the question. Yes. Yes, Fidelis Ilechukwu needs to get his boys together, himself and his boys together. They need to dig deep. Rangers is not known for being in 9th position. Are they on 9th? Or 5th rather. Okay. So there's still hope. Rangers Enugu is not known for being in the 5th place. Rangers Enugu every season, at least for the past 5 to 6 years, they're on top 3 or worst case scenario, top 4. We shouldn't even be talking about 5th place. So they should please bring themselves up to at least that top 4. Yes, that top 4 finish. At least they are a big team, for crying out loud. One of the biggest in the NPFL alongside Enyimba. So for me, I would say he should get his boys up, rally them up, and make something happen this season. That 1-0 loss at the Cathedral, it was nothing to write home about.
I mean, but there's been a lot of defeats at the Cathedral this season. It's no longer a fortress as it was last season.
Kano Pillars came and just swept them off, scoring 4 goals. Come on.
Like you said, there has to be something done before the end of the season.
Exactly. This is a desperate time, and it's calls for desperate measures.
I feel it's time to hit the panic button. I don't know if other fans or neutrals would not say that, but I feel this is the end of the season. You have to hit the panic button and do what has to be done.
Everyone needs to be at the edge of their seats right now.
That's what happens. But now we're moving on to the next story, and our dear Super Eagles do take on the Black Stars of Ghana in the Unity Cup in London. And this is a small tournament that everyone has been looking at for the few African countries. There is Trinidad and Tobago will be taking on Jamaica. And Ghana will be hosting Nigeria in the London Unity Cup. You know, it's quite a touchy affair when we talk about Ghana versus Nigeria. What are your thoughts on that game coming up?
I like that statement used, the touchy affair. Okay. I'm about to drop predictions now because I know you would eventually ask me that.
Predictions, you know why you're coming to this, but I want to get, how do you see the build up into that game?
Mr. Eric Chelle, that's his name, right?
Eric
please, we need to get these 3 points. On a serious note, every game right now is very, very important. Just as important as the qualifiers is as important as this Unity Cup in London. Please, we need to get our 3 points, and Ghana is a strong team. I'm not taking anything away from them. We have to be straightforward and realistic and as honest as possible with ourselves. Ghana is a very, very strong team. So we need to get everyone up. We need to be up and doing from defense to striker. We need to stay glued together. We need to stick together as a team. It's 11 against 11. So please, we need to know nobody should make any silly mistakes this time around. With the way things are now with the Super Eagles of Nigeria, there's no room for mistakes again. Even if we are playing a friendly game, we don't need to make mistakes again. Please.
All right. So now for the important parts, the predictions.
Yeah. Again on the spotlight. All right.
Before I get to the Ghana versus Nigeria game, the other game, what do you see happening there? Do you see maybe Jamaica taking the win or Trinidad and Tobago?
Please, no offense to Trinidad. Based on Jamaica, their football prowess, I know they are not so wonderful in the world of football, but I know they have a bigger edge over Trinidad and Tobago.
So you're giving
Yeah, I'm
Trinidad
giving
and Tobago as the underdogs in the game.
it's not even giving. That's what it is. The reality is that they are the underdogs, but notwithstanding,
anything could happen.
exactly. So Jamaica to win them by. Sorry, I'm waving my hands like that. Hold on, let me give you a prediction. Okay, Jamaica to win Trinidad and Tobago by 2-0. 2-0. Yeah.
Okay.
Then Nigeria, Ghana. Lord. I'm saying I'll give 2 predictions here. Number 1, hope. Yes. Nigeria to win by 2-1. Hope. Then expectation. Slight expectation. It might end up being a draw.
Okay. Well, those games will be played on the 28th of April. But we'll have to go on a short break.
Okay.
After that, we'll be taking more from the EPL and we'll be having a guest joining us right here on the Afia Sports Show. Stay tuned for more. All right, you're welcome back to the Afia Sports Show, the home of sports. And there we do have a guest joining us today, a friendly face around the parks. Yeah. I'm talking about Zikor. Welcome on the sports show.
Yeah,
and
pleasure.
We were about to talk about the EPL before we came on. And it's no shocks that some teams got back to winning ways after the international break. Some teams lost, obviously. Some teams drew. And Chelsea played against Tottenham in the last fixture. The 1-0. But before that, Man City had beaten Leicester and taken themselves up into the top 4. I want to ask how this weekend's fixture has gone for you.
Actually, midweek.
The midweek, actually, yeah.
Because it was a funny Premier League
I think
calendar.
There's a double game week coming up.
Because of the FA Cup and during the weekend. But
so those are the results before we get your thoughts. 2-1 to Arsenal against Fulham. Wolves winning against West Ham 1-0. Nottingham Forest beating United. His former employers.
Yeah.
Elanga doing one over his former employers there. Bournemouth losing at home to Ipswich. That's quite a shocker there. Brighton lost 3-0 to Aston Villa. Mind you, Rashford got his first Premier League goal since he joined Aston Villa. Man City doing the job over Leicester 2-0. Newcastle right on form, beating Brentford 2-1. They share the spoils between Southampton and Crystal Palace. Liverpool doing the job in the Merseyside derby, 1-0 over Everton. And Chelsea beating Tottenham. There was quite a controversial match there. I mean, there were disallowed goals there. 1 for Chelsea and 1 for Tottenham. Was that really a foul for you, Divine, before I get to you, Zikor? Was that really a foul? Was it also an offense to get a yellow card? Many Chelsea fans will say that. Many neutrals will say, yes, it was the right call. Well, was it the right call for you?
Of course, now. It's the right... Didn't you see it?
I watched the game. I mean, I just want to get your thoughts.
Of course. I don't want to rest on the case, but it was just the right call. As simple as that.
The Caicedo goal that was cancelled, was that an offside by Colwell? Because it was pretty tight.
Yeah, you just used... Seriously, I kept on, even after the replay, I went to my phone. I kept on replaying to actually know. Imagine me doing the VR work on my own. So I was now I was like, well, at this point, the officials in the game who were closer to the play more than myself or more than us, whatever call they made, it was okay, because I got stuck up trying to look at, there are some, as a referee, there are some tough decisions that even after the VAR makes it, you're still within yourself. You're like, you yourself, you're not even sure of what calls to make. But for me, I just had to leave it at whatever they make as decision, so be it.
I want to get your thoughts, Zikor.
On the
Chelsea game before we analyze some other games in APL.
Well, for me, I think it's a clear foul by Papsa on Caicedo. He matched him on beneath the knee.
Studs up.
And it was also a yellow card, so correct call from the referee. And for me, I think the Premier League has been dilly-dallying over these offside calls. Offside should be black or white. It's either you're offside or you're onside. And La Liga has actually, because I do like to watch other leagues, La Liga and the Bundesliga, they are using the semi-automated offside. And I think Premier League needs to, they wanted to actually attempt to use it towards the ending of the season, but I think it's going to be for next season. But if it's offside, it's offside. If it's onside, it's onside, and it was actually offside. So the correct
Right.
call.
I want to get your thoughts on some other things. Quite some neutrals and some Chelsea fans are going to have to say that it was just a lucky win for their side. I mean, the performances weren't too top notch there. If as a neutral you watch their game, you see that both teams struggled a bit to find their feet, but Chelsea were the more clinical on the night. Would you all ask you about Robert Sanchez's performances? I mean, what would you rate his performance in that game? Because quite a lot of people had some things to say, but I want to know what you have to say about his performances.
Well, I've been quite clear about Robert Sanchez as a goalkeeper. I don't have no opinion over him as a person, but as a goalkeeper, I don't fancy him. I don't think he's a very good goalkeeper. I think Chelsea still need to go to the market for a goalkeeper, despite this performance that he had against Tottenham, which was actually good because he secured the 3 points for the team and, helps with their pushing for the top 4. And that's all he can do. Just keep on giving good performances. But for me, he doesn't inspire me.
I did fancy him at the beginning of the season, though.
I mean, there were a lot of expectations for him.
I did.
With the price tags and everything.
This is a player that was actually the first choice at Brighton before De Zerbi had to, demote him and give 30-something-year-old Jason Steele the opportunity to become the first choice. It just tells you everything. I don't know. It's not a question of his quality. He's very good with the ball at his feet. I think it's a question of mentality and concentration. And I don't think he's up there as a top class goalkeeper. You can be idle for 70 minutes, but just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you are needed to be there. Yeah. That's what separates him. And I don't think he's up there.
And I want to ask now, what are your thoughts on the Merseyside derby? Because it's always key to analyze derby games.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest derby match of the weekend.
Yeah, actually it was good for Liverpool, after what happened to them prior to the international break, losing in the cup final against Newcastle. It must have been very, very hot thing for them, and also getting knocked out by Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. They would have wanted to take that out of their system. Unfortunately for them, the international break just came for them, and for them to just get back and just get this win, I think Ancelotti should be happy with that. And for Jota, 12 games without a goal, to come and
getting a goal after so long.
So it's good for them.
I mean, also in the Chelsea game, Kopama having a goal assist after 16 games without any goal involvement. That's quite an improvement.
Yeah, it's football.
Quite an improvement? More like a relief.
You get some players who go 20 games without a goal involvement. They get one goal, then they go drought again. That's just it. Yeah. But I want to ask, the Arsenal-Fulham game. It was quite emotional for both neutrals and Arsenal fans having Saka back on the pitch after so long. They took the lead through Moreno, and then Saka with his all-important goal to give them the winner. But outside Saka's return, how did you see the game? Because it was quite contested there. I mean, a lot happened in that game. I want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, kudos to Arsenal, first of all. Congratulations to Saka, the star boy. Coming in within 10 minutes, he says, "Hey guys."
It was as if he wasn't away.
Like I never left.
Like I never left.
Okay, so congratulations to them. Then the match in itself, it was actually a good match, a tough match. To be on an honest side, Fulham actually put up a fight.
Yeah, Marco Silva's team will always give you a game.
What's his name? Calvin Bassey. That guy is actually a rock solid. I'm saying this as a Nigerian, and I'm saying it as a fan of his. He's actually rock solid. When
do you think he will be? Permit me to ask this. Do you think he is destined for a much bigger club than?
Of course.
Fulham?
Let's tell ourselves the truth. He's been impressive.
Yeah, of course.
Of late, he's been.
That's
impressive.
what I'm asking. Do you think?
Of course.
The ceiling is even higher for him?
Of course, he can move into. I won't call the likes of Man City yet, but I'm sure that somewhere like Chelsea pairing up with another solid defender like him, he could actually make something happen. Yeah, I'm
for a team pushing for Europe,
exactly.
Europa League,
Chelsea is pushing to get into Champions League, of course. So why won't he be able to make it there? So give or take.
There's another game I want to talk about just before we go into the next topic, and that's the Manchester City versus Leicester game. There was a lot happening there. City winning 2-0 on the night. Grealish getting a goal after so long as well. I want to get your thoughts on that game, how it went.
16 months without a goal for Jack Grealish,
Exactly.
but it was an emotional day for him because
His brother, his
he,
little brother.
yeah, he celebrated it for his long gone brother. And, Pep Guardiola said after the game that Grealish was a very, very, like, he described him as an amazing person. But because of the form of Jeremy Doku, Savinho, he hasn't been able to get into the team. And I think that for Grealish, he's somebody that likes to, express himself. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and it's a welcome reminder of his talent and his ability. And he just needs to buckle up and, give his all for the end of the season to qualify for the Champions League and for the FA Cup for Manchester City.
Well, I want to get your thoughts on that as well, Divine. What happened in that game for you, apart from the Grealish getting a goal after 16 months? There were some other key players who have not seen match time. They got some fitness levels up and down. But I want to get your thoughts on the match in general.
Man City against Leicester. It wasn't really a surprise that Man City won.
Yeah. Leicester has been one of the poorest
Leicester,
Premier
as
League
long as
teams
season's
ever.
concerned.
19th place currently.
Not to take anything from Van Nistelrooy, of course, we know his management level.
There's nothing to take away from him. He is
No,
what he is.
what I mean is,
To be honest,
he's not.
he did
he's
inherit a squad that was struggling. So
But he knew what he was getting himself into when he accepted the
That
contract.
was one factor. Another factor is he's not much of an experienced coach.
True.
Yeah, exactly. So this is another thing. So I don't expect, or actually I didn't expect him to edge over Man City in that game.
So what was the thinking? Again, what was the thinking process for the Leicester owner, whereby you are taking somebody like Steve Cooper that has already saved Nottingham Forest? We already seen his track record.
Of course, no.
He has already helped Swansea to go for a playoff final. Somebody like that, and you took him out because of his allegiance to Nottingham Forest. Leicester and Nottingham Forest have some kind of local rivalry and so on. And you now go and employ a Van Nistelrooy that is a neophyte in Premier League. Like,
maybe he saw.
Is it because of the 4 games with Manchester United?
Of course, that could be a factor. So probably maybe he saw that this guy has coached Manchester United. Okay, he has stayed under the former that's Eric Ten Hag. Yeah. So he was like, okay, if he's under Eric Ten Hag, Eric Ten Hag managing a whole Manchester United, won an FA Cup with them last season. So probably he felt that, okay, this guy must have learned one or two from Eric. I
felt he was given the job based on his name.
His name, and then the club he was coming from. And then plus, this guy has taken over from Eric Ten Hag, being an interim coach. He didn't do so bad with Manchester United being an interim coach. So if you can handle Manchester United in 4 games,
I still also question the thought process, because you can't use 4 games as a sample size. You never
can tell what your
to give somebody a job to save a club side.
You never can tell what your fellow human beings can do.
I know, I get that point. There were also other managers for me that are out there
who are willing to actually
pick managers that they could have gone to. I mean, there were still people available. Like Social was available at some point.
At that point, even David Moyes
was available at some point. They could have gone to likes of those, but they opted for Van Nistelrooy. He's not done so poorly since coming in.
Are you serious?
I mean, with the squad he inherited and the level they were at before.
The squad he inherited was not in the bottom 3. Steve Cooper, they were atrocious, but they were not this abysmal.
Let's take into account that there were injuries, key injuries, like the likes of Vardy and some other players like
at that time. So you're telling me that since that time till now, they haven't found their mojo back?
I can't make
Everybody has injuries.
Everybody has their injuries.
Everybody has injuries.
Didn't Saka go for how long was Saka out? And look at him now.
I mean, you can only do your best at this point.
Of course.
But moving on, going back to the Man City camp, there is a fella that we all love in the world of football, and he's announced that he's leaving Manchester City at the end of the season. It's been a wonderful 10 years for Kevin De Bruyne, and he's announced he's going to be leaving Manchester City at the end of the season. And quite a lot of players have come out to say what they felt about his leaving. He's made his official statements on how happy he has been at this club for 10 years. His family are grateful for what the club has done. He has won it all. I mean, the Champions League, the Premier League, FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, the Community Shield, Champions League. And it's really sad as a neutral to see such a great player leave such a great club. I want to get your thoughts on this. Do you feel like maybe it was a managerial decision or the player just opted that he wants to leave the club?
I think it's a combination of different factors for Kevin De Bruyne. And like life, all good things must come to an end.
Surely, he said it in his statement.
Yeah, you know, I've been one of his most vocal supporters from the time he came back from Wolfsburg. He has just, you know, showed tremendous quality. I think for me, it's both getting on with age, injuries, you know, lack of game time, and, you know, his contract is also, you know, running out in the middle of June during the Club World Cup. So all these things have, you know, come to this conclusion for him. And trust Kevin De Bruyne to, you know, he decided to go out on his own without the club, you know, pushing him away, you know.
It's all about knowing when
knowing
stop.
when to, and he has always been somebody that has been vocal. You know, he always wants to talk. If you remember that clip where he was trying to express himself and Fernandinho, they were trying to stop him, and he was like, let me talk. You know, I've always appreciated De Bruyne, and I believe not only Manchester City fans will appreciate him, but everybody that loves football should appreciate Kevin De Bruyne. And I think he's one of the greats of the Premier League, not only Manchester City, but the Premier League in general. And kudos to him, and good luck to him for whatever his desires are.
Any extra thoughts there, Divine?
Goodbye, legend. That's my talk.
Well, I mean, it's sad to see such a legend leave a big club like that in the Premier League. As you said, he's not just a Manchester City legend, he is a Premier League legend as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, whatever club he goes to, we hope he can continue his exploits there. We do love to say legend continue what he's known best for.
Yep.
And I wish De Bruyne the best in whichever club he goes to next, either it be the Saudi League or he continues in Europe. We do hope we can get many more from De Bruyne.
Yeah.
And just to add this to a hint, Mats Hummels has also announced he's going to be retiring at the end of the season. He's already retired from the international football, and he's going to be ending his player career at the end of this season. Dortmund fans were sad to hear this, but he's given both Dortmund and Bayern some good years. I mean,
not some exceptional years.
Exceptional years, actually.
Another legend of the game, a legend of German football. Yeah. He's a World Cup champion, if you remember, in 2014. You know, scoring that vital goal against France in the quarterfinal. Not much can be said about Mats Hummels. You know, he went to Bayern from Dortmund, came back to Dortmund, went to the Champions League final. Unfortunately, they met Real Madrid, who are Real Madrid in the Champions League. But you can't take anything away from his career. He has done and performed. So good luck to him as well. Good luck.
Another piece of information to bring to the fans and for everyone out there. The journey between Thomas Müller and Bayern Munich is coming to an end officially. The club isn't renewing his contract and he is going to be leaving Bayern. I mean, the great leader, the great German machine, has already retired from the German national team, but his contract with Bayern is up this summer, and that is the end of the journey.
I think Bayern is trying to pivot in a different direction right now. They are trying to, you know, grow younger players, and even Kane is not certain to, you know, stick by after this season. Rumors are now, you know, circling around him and his future that he might actually return back to the Premier League and stuff, or go somewhere else. So
it's more like, you know, one thing is, anyone who leaves a particular club leaves for another person to come in. So it's kind of little by little building another era.
Yeah.
That is what it is.
True.
Definitely, nobody will stay you can't stay there forever.
Yeah.
Someone has to come in and fill in your shoes.
With the likes of Ronaldo, Messi, moving on to other clubs, and others stepping up.
Right now, Barcelona is in the post-Messi era.
Yeah.
Very soon, Argentina is slowly moving into the post-Messi era. Yeah. So the thing is, know that you can't be in this place forever. Life has to go on after you in whatever club you play for. So Kevin De Bruyne is leaving. We're about to have Rodri will be the next sooner or later. Someone has to leave. So that's it. So good luck in their career wherever we see them. Mola, please keep scoring your goals. You were a father to Barcelona.
I mean, Muller was quite the character of Bayern Munich. You know, his gimmicks before big Champions League games. He's always posting his videos, trying to get the match, pump for a match and everything, always trying to get in the opponent's heads and all that.
The
You do love
the
to see these-
shenanigans.
the
He was a nightmare for Barcelona. I'm sorry. I'm a Barca fan, but I have to admit it. He was a nightmare to
It was
Barcelona.
not just Barcelona. You did it to so many clubs.
A lot of clubs, yeah.
Well, it's like just like the De Bruyne case. We do hope he can get himself back on form and
But I
in
still
his
believe
next
that
club.
Muller and De Bruyne can still offer
Of
you
course.
a lot in
a
Europe.
lot in say Europe.
course.
I believe in for De Bruyne's part. I think he needs to get his fitness right because if he can't play as an attacking midfielder, he can still go back
And be a central
and
midfielder.
center midfielder or a defensive midfielder, but like somebody that detects the play.
Yeah, the play.
You know, you can
Controls
now
the tempo of the
controls
game.
the tempo like a Tony Cruz. He has
Yeah, exactly.
the passing range,
of
he has
course.
the technical quality.
And then
the
when it
IQ.
comes to
the vision.
dropping the outside the team, surprise hits, bullets,
Yeah, he can
knows
now
how
come
to
from the
down
back and
people.
do that. So
if it's for, he has a lot to offer. Mola can still offer a lot, being the supporting striker and the left winger at times in most cases. So these guys still have it in them.
Wow. Another news to come here is the Copa del Rey, and the semi-finals played out the way they played. Quite a lot of controversies over the two games, both in the Madrid game and the Barca game. Big talking points there. A lot of neutrals say there were some wrong calls from the referees in the Real Madrid game via the Sociedad penalty that was not given, and alleged not touching Camavinga, but those were just speculations from neutrals and others. And the Barcelona game, there was some thoughts about Omo and Paul Victor's registration being nullified because of the funds were not registered by Barcelona. Those talking points in the games would be discussed further on as they progress. We'll give you more news about that. But the Copa del Rey finals is set. Clasico. Again, if you got tired of the Clasico, get more for more. Because April 26th, we are going to be having Real Madrid versus Barcelona in the Copa del Rey final. And I'll get your thoughts on this, Zikora. Another El Clasico, another chance for Barcelona or Real Madrid to edge over their noisy rivals. What's your thoughts on that game, building up for it?
well, I'll try to be as unbiased as possible. For me, it's been a very, very interesting couple of games between Barcelona and Real Madrid this season in the Spanish Super Cup in Saudi Arabia. Barcelona whitewashed them 5-2, and at Santiago Bernabeu, I think 4-0 game. And what we saw was the difference in I won't say talent because both teams have talented players, but I think it's the game plan, is the blueprint, is what the players believe
The
in.
identity of
The
the
identity
team.
of the team. You know, I think right now Barcelona have an identity, and it all stands from the coach. So I'm not taking anything from Carlo Ancelotti. I love him as a manager. The personality he has to control and guide those Real Madrid players to winning the Champions League and La Liga has to be respected. But right now, with the kind of momentum Barcelona have built up, it's been really shocking and also interesting that just in June, Hansi Flick came and all of a sudden they are doing this. But this final is also going to be totally different. It's the first time since 2014 that they have both met again in a Copa del Rey final. And we remember what happened, Gareth Bale, what he did against Barcelona and Marc Bartra.
Yeah.
And now Mbappe will want to, rectify what has happened in the last two games. So it's not going to be easy, despite Barcelona already pummeling them 9-2 in two games. But I think it's going to be, again, a 50-50 game because both teams, I see both teams as different sides of the same coin. So it's going to be an interesting clash.
Now, I want to ask you this, Dubai. Notwithstanding the forms of both teams in the league, Champions League, and in general, all competitions, I want to ask this from both the managerial perspective. He said it about Don Carlo. He has his flowers for what he's been doing in Madrid. I mean, the La Liga and the Champions League is something you have to respect.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Hansi Flick, I want to ask you this.
Okay.
Giving back to his days even at Bayern, are you surprised he's hit the ground running the way he has? Even though he had quite a shaky point in the season, but he's gone back to where he was. Are you surprised about how Barca have been this season?
I'm not surprised because Hansi Flick has this identity of, while he was funny enough, Carlo Ancelotti has also coached Bayern. But not that being said, Hansi Flick, right from time as a Bayern Munich coach, played dominating football and scored a lot of goals. Right now, Barcelona, I think, is the highest goal scoring side across Europe, if I am correct. Europe top 5. Barcelona
and
is.
To point out, this is also the highest goal scoring Barcelona team in years.
Yes, exactly. They've outscored Tata Martino's era. I think they are approaching Guardiola's. They are fast approaching.
They are the highest scoring La Liga team by this time in history.
Exactly.
Not even Luis Enrique or Pep Guardiola's team, exactly. Because of the way that like I said, the identity of Hansi Flick.
Exactly.
You score us, we score more. That's the philosophy.
So and Lewandowski has found his mojo again.
Yeah,
and under Hansi Flick back at Bayern Munich, Lewandowski was a beast of a goal poacher. And now he's replicating it again. Even though he's 36, he's still, running riot with the goals.
He's running like fine wine, as they say.
Exactly. So the thing there is, I'm not surprised. The only thing there is, I didn't know it would be this
rapid.
I didn't expect it to come this quick. But I'm not surprised because it's Hansi Flick. Come on, he has a philosophy.
So I want to get your predictions. And before I say that, pointing out that these two teams are on red hot form going into this game, but who do you see as the underdogs in this match? Now,
they are not underdogs.
None of these teams are underdogs. These are big teams across.
I just told you they are different sides of the same coin.
I just wanted to trail a little bit of banter there, just for the fans out there.
They are not underdogs.
Okay, notwithstanding the Barca.
Also remember, Megzi, both teams are going for a treble.
Yeah, both teams are going for the treble.
Barcelona has already grabbed one.
No, they have won a Super Cup.
They've already won.
There is a treble.
Yeah, like a treble to
a lot of people that don't watch La Liga will tell you that they don't value the Super Cup, although it's still important because if you win 6 trophies, it's still part of it. But the treble for the season, the Copa del Rey, the La Liga and Champions League. And funny enough, with how dodgy and weird Real Madrid have been, they are still in all competitions. So you have to respect it. You have to know that, like I said, there are no underdogs. There are no weaklings here. You have to respect what both teams have to do. And
it's a tough fixture, really is. So I want to get your thoughts, Divine. Who is gonna get it for you? Okay. Who grabs the first piece of the treble?
Okay. I'm just looking at Barcelona taking this serious.
You can't look beyond them.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular scoreline you have to say? I'm going to always have to put you on the spot.
Why do I always have to be on the spotlight? With the way Barcelona has, I'm sorry to say it, please, I mean no offense, but the way Barcelona has trashed Real Madrid so far this season, at their home turf, Barcelona beat them 4-0. Saudi Arabia, 5-2. Oh, God. How do you... I don't... Oh, God. Okay, I don't want to go and say too much, please. It's a 3-1 win for Barcelona. But there's tendency that it might go beyond 3-1.
It might go beyond.
Because Barcelona, they score goals for fun now. Anything they just hold, they literally just make them look like, like they don't even know what you come to the field to play. So I'll just give Barcelona a 3-1 win.
Zachary, do you share the same thoughts, or do you have a different
He's trying to say business as usual. But I'm actually want to throw in something in the spanner for me, spanner in the works. But for me, I think Madrid might actually surprise people. I will just be frank with you. On normal form, I think Barcelona should take the win. In 2025, they have won, I think 17 games and drawn 3.
They played 21 games.
Okay, 18 wins and 3 draws.
They are yet to lose.
They are yet to lose.
57 goals in 21 games from January till now that we are speaking.
So it tells you a lot. But I still, like I said, I believe that the Real Madrid boys will have a point to prove against this new look and Flick team, and they might actually come out tops in this final. Also remember that there's an El Clasico coming after the final in the Olympic Montjuic at Barcelona's home, the remaining La Liga game. So For me, I believe that Real Madrid can do something.
And just to throw something in, there might be a Champions League final between both of them. I'm just saying.
If they can,
If
Yeah,
both
yeah,
teams
yeah,
can get
yeah.
where they need to be.
possibility.
Well, I do want to ask this. When you talk about Flick and Don Carlo, given both their careers as managers, notwithstanding their playing days but their managerial careers, you look more at say, okay, Don Carlo might be the bigger man here. Some will argue Hansi Flick has been even given back to his coaching assistant days in Germany national team. I mean, he was the assistant coach when Germany won the World Cup in 2014. Many say he was the one who opted for Götze to come into the game.
we will never know.
We will never know.
Okay.
But I will ask this. Now, from the mindset of the managers, who do you think has given this season, and you've watched the style of play for both Madrid and Barca, whose philosophy seems to have the edge, per se?
When we talk about philosophy, it's a very tricky word because what's your philosophy? It's
Your approach is not my approach.
Yeah, what's your philosophy? Like some people want to play possession-based game, keep the ball on the ground. Some people want to play vertical, direct to the goal. Some people play long ball. What matters is winning games.
Yeah.
And both
points.
managers are winners. It just, for me, like I say, it depends on what happens on that game day, how the managers set up the teams, and what happens inside the game. Because in-game substitutions are going to be very critical. Whereby you see that things are not working out the way you have set your team up, and you rectify, because football is all about changing the pieces on the board, and it just matters who is able to react in the heat of the moment.
Right.
For me.
Very well said. Do you have any other thoughts to add to that, Divine?
Yeah, just like you said, it's the philosophy, your approach to the game. So whose approach works better?
Yeah.
Fits the particular
wants it
moment.
more?
Yeah, exactly. Who wants it more? Then if your approach seems to give a better result, then you are actually automatically the winner. That's how football
I think
is.
if Carlo does what he did
Against
in the past 2 games, that's coming out to exchange blows with this current Barcelona that loves the transition, whereby there's space in behind. I think they will get ripped to shreds. But if he adopts the tactic he took against Manchester City, especially during their Champions League winning season last season, whereby they were on a mid block to almost a low block against this Barcelona, then I think it's going to go according to what I just said, whereby they might actually get a result.
But one thing there is Hansi Flick knows how to adapt to some styles of play.
True.
Because there are so many teams who have played low block and still it didn't work out for them against Hansi Flick. I can't really mention names now, but
and also people that have also played low block, the Leganes, the Las Palmas,
and the one Barcelona.
Earlier on, Barcelona couldn't win.
I'm assuming that after those games, Hansi Flick had to learn 1 or 2 lessons from them and say, okay, when this team when they play a low block, this is how I am going to approach the game. Since it's low block, then Pedri, Frankie de Jong, Fermin Lopez, you have to start trying outside the box movements, scoring goals, Lamine Yamal. You have to start attracting fouls. So
his poker card is what La Liga is trying to take away from him. Dani Olmo.
But anyway,
he's the card that he can use to change
I got the information yesterday that the La Liga court, so to speak, the Spanish court has actually nullified that accusation. The accusation came on Wednesday morning prior to the Copa del Rey game against Atletico Madrid. So this morning, or either yesterday evening, I cross-checked again. And it happened that the Spanish court has actually nullified that accusation that Dani Olmo and Pau Victor are eligible to play till the end of the season. So that one is bygone.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And moving on to our next story is bringing it back to our dear Nigeria. Our under-19 cricket squad has just secured their win over Sierra Leone by 122 runs. That's quite an impressive feat for Nigeria. Many neutrals of the sport have said that Nigeria has been on a good run of form, and this win has boosted hopes for more games to come. I don't know if you follow much about the cricket, but I've seen quite of their games, and I see that there's a squad, there's a unit who play like a family there. There is this understanding among the players. The manager knows how to get the players in the system. They've been following suit and they've been winning games. I want to get some thoughts from you, whether you know much about the cricket.
I only want to do one thing. That's what I want to do for them.
Let's clap for
At
them.
least there's finally some good news on
Well,
sports in
moving
Nigeria.
on from that, we do have news from the NBA front, and Giannis has secured the a triple double points in Miami Heat's victory. This is one player that I have been watching for quite a while. Giannis has impressed quite a lot of people. He's been red hot since he began his professional career. And I just want to ask this from you, Zikora. Giannis, the Greek guy, what are your thoughts about him recently? You've seen his games. You've seen what he's done in the NBA since being drafted. I want to get your thoughts on him.
He's one of a lot of good players in the NBA. The NBA is the cream de la creme of basketballers, and for me, he's a good player. He's somebody that also shows his qualities in the 3-pointers. He helps in the team defense a lot. But for me, I don't have a special player. If I have a special player, it's already Steph. But I like the way Giannis plays his game. He's always there. That's all you can say about him. He's always there. He gives his all. He's a good player, and the fans will hope that he continues this good form till the end of the season.
Well, we do hope he can continue this very hot form to the end of the season, like you said. That is all on the science of our package today on Afia Sports. And thank you, Divine, for joining me today. Thank you, Zikora, Blessed Zik. Thank you so much for joining us here. I remain your wonderful host, the Priest of Football, Emeka Medogeke Femelo. Stay tuned for more next Saturday. Signing off. Goodbye.